All right, let's do it. Taproom's full. The bar has a line. The beer is fresh. Your flagship IPA is priced at $7 a pint. What happens if you raise the price to $8? Most brewery owners immediately say the same thing. Customers will complain. Maybe. But let me ask you a better question. Will they leave? A customer might complain about an $8 pint, then buy 2 of them. That's not customer mutiny, it's commentary. For those of you who are new, my name is Chris Farmand and I'm the founder of Small Batch Standard. We are a CPA firm for craft brewing industry. So whatever your CPA does, we do it better. And for the past 15 years, we've helped over 300 craft breweries find more profit through outsourced accounting, tax compliance, and strategic consulting. Brewery owners confuse mutiny and commentary all the time. Changing your taproom prices has almost nothing to do with customer fear and almost everything to do with bottled water. More on that in a minute. The beer served inside your taproom is coming from the source, and it should be priced this way. But too many brewery owners price their taproom beer like they're terrified of their own customers. And that fear is expensive and causing real cash flow problems. Here's what makes taproom pricing so dangerous. I hear it all the time. Anchor with a $5 cheap beer and charge more for the rest. I could not disagree more. Reducing the price of beer would be the silliest thing because, hey, your costs are not reducing. This is the problem. A lot of brewery owners have let their expenses move into 2026 while their taproom menu still lives in 2019. When taproom pricing does not move with reality, the owner's checkbook becomes the shock absorber, and the shock absorbers wear out. Here's the uncomfortable truth. If your costs have gone up 15, 20, or 25% over the last few years, and your taproom pricing has barely moved, you did not protect your customers. You financed them. Brewery owners love to talk about sales growth. They love to talk about events, and they love to talk about distribution. But sometimes the cleanest cash flow move is not new. It's not sexy. It's not a new revenue channel. It's charging the right price for the thing people already are buying. This is where the math gets interesting. Let's get to my favorite subject. Let's say your taproom sells 500 pints per week. Yes, I know some of you do this in a weekend, but for this purpose, we're gonna do what I call Chris Lizard Brain math. That's about 71 pints per day. For many taprooms, this is an extremely light lift. Matter of fact, taprooms that we work with will do 500 pints on a Saturday, but for my sake, follow me here. Your pint is currently $7. So 500 pints equals about $3,500 in weekly revenue. Let's say you raise the price by $1 from $7 to $8. Same beer, same staff, same customers. That $1 increase adds $500 a week. That's roughly $2,000 a month. That's $26,000 annualized. At a 50% net margin in your taproom, that's $14,000 in profit from one pricing move. And here's the beautiful part. That extra dollar doesn't require a new fermenter. It doesn't require another salesperson. It doesn't require more debt. It's mostly contribution margin. But what if we lose customers over that dollar increase? Great question. Let's test it. At $7, you're selling 500 pints, which gives you $3,500. At $8, you only need 438 pints to get the same revenue. 438 pints times $8 equals $3,504. This means you could lose 62 pints a week and still be slightly ahead in revenue. That's a 12.4% drop in pint volume. So you could sell over 12% fewer pints and still make slightly more revenue. But it gets better, because if you sell 62 fewer pints, you're also pouring fewer pints, which means less beer depleted, less staff pressure, less cleaning, less waste, less wear and tear, and still more revenue. That's the part that most brewery owners miss. They assume a loss in pints is bad. Not always. Not if the remaining pints are priced correctly. Volume is not the goal. Cash flow is the goal. A busy tap room with bad pricing can still be broke. You can have people in the seats. You can have energy. You can have Instagram stories. You can have a line at the bar. And it still doesn't generate enough cash to cover the actual economics of the business. Now, let's talk about flights. Flights are one of the most underpriced items in the tap room. They look harmless. They feel fun. Customers love them. They're a sampler's dream. They help people explore your menu. But financially, flights can be a sneaky little labor trap. It's not just the beer. It's the multiple pours, glasses, decisions, explanations, multiple things for your taproom staff to carry, clear, rinse, wash, restock. Let's say your flight is 4 5-ounce pours. That's 20 ounces of beer. You sell it for $10. That means you're getting around 50 cents an ounce. Now, compare that to the $7 pint. That's 16 ounces at $7. That's about 44 cents per ounce. So yes, the flight looks better per ounce, but it's not enough because the flight is more labor intensive than a pint. The pint is one pour, it's one glass, it's one movement. The flight is 4 mini transactions dressed up as one menu item. So if you raise that flight from 10 to 12, the math changes dramatically. $12 divided by 20 ounces is 60 cents per ounce. Now let's say you sell 150 flights a week at a $2 increase, that adds 300 a week. Over a year, that's $15,600 from one item. No new beer, no new event, no limited release strategy. Just pricing the experience correctly. Now, when we put the two strategies together, the pint increase adds $26,000 in revenue. The flight increase adds $15,600 in revenue. Together, that's $41,600 in annual revenue from 2 basic menu changes. That profit alone could cover a serious repair. It could go toward a chunk of debt service or several months of utilities. This is why pricing matters. Not because $1 feels big to the customer, because $1 multiplied by hundreds of transactions becomes real money to your business. This is where brewery owners need to reframe the entire conversation. Customers in your tap room are not just buying beer. They're buying beer from the source. That matters. They're drinking product from where it's made. They can see the tanks. They can talk to the brewers. They can meet friends. They can feel like they are part of something local. And that is not the same product as a can pulled from a grocery store shelf. It might be the same liquid, but it's not the same experience. An experience has value. People already understand this. They pay more for coffee at a cafe than they do making it at home. They pay more for popcorn at the movie theater than they do at the grocery store. Why? Because the setting changes the value. The moment the product becomes part of an experience, the customer evaluates it differently. They're not doing ounce math. They're doing memory math. Am I having a good time? Do I like this place? Do I want to come back? That is your tap room. Brewery owners need to stop pretending that the tap room is just dispensing liquid. It's not. It's the most powerful profit margin environment in your business, or at least it should be. But when you underprice it, you take that advantage and give it away. The customer still gets the experience. The staff does all the work. The building still has its costs. The brewery's still taking risk, but the margin vanishes. and that's bad math. The next reason your taproom pricing needs to be strong, your taproom should never undercut your wholesale accounts. Ever. This is where some brewery owners accidentally create friction inside their own brand. Let's say a bar across town buys your keg. They pay the distributor or they buy it directly from you. They store the keg, they hook it up, they clean the lines, they train the staff. They deal with the waste, the foam, the glassware, the payroll, the rent, the insurance, and the customer who wants to sample 6 beers before ordering a light lager. That bar has to make money. So they sell your pint for $8. Then the customer comes to your tap room and sees the same beer for $6. What did you just do? You made your wholesale account look expensive. You trained the customer to believe your beer should be cheaper, and you weakened the perceived value of your own product. Just imagine a shoe company sells sneakers to a local running store. The running store stocks them, promotes them, recommends them, and sells them for $120. Then the shoe company opens up a shop right down the street and sells the same exact shoe for $90. The running store would not call that a thoughtful pricing strategy. They would call that betrayal. Same thing here. Your wholesale accounts need room to make money. Your tap room needs room to make money. Your brand needs price integrity. If your beer is selling for $8 in the market, your tap room should mirror that at a minimum. In fact, many brewery owners are more protective of their wholesale accounts than they are of their own tap room. They will worry about whether a bar can make margin. That's great, but then they'll turn around and price their own tap room like the business has no bills. The tap room should be the strongest pricing environment, not the weakest. Now, back to bottled water, because this is the easiest way to understand taproom pricing. The same bottle of water can have 3 totally different prices. At the grocery store, it might be $1. At a hotel, it might be $4. And at an airport, it might be $6. Nobody thinks the airport water has a better tasting note. The price changed because the buying situation changed. At a grocery store, the customer has options. They can buy 1 bottle, they can buy a case. They can choose the cheapest brand, or they just leave. The grocery store is a commodity environment. At the hotel, the customer is paying for convenience. They're already in the room, they're tired, they do not want to go downstairs. The bottle sitting next to the TV has value. At the airport, the customer's paying for access. They're past security. You can't bring liquids through TSA. They're thirsty. And just like my wife says, those fountain fillers are disgusting as she sips her Evian. That bottle of water in the airport is not priced based on cost. It's priced based on context. That's the lesson. Same product, different context, different price. Your beer works the same way. In a grocery store, your beer competes with every package in the cooler. Domestics, imports, seltzers, cider, RTD, wine, whatever's new on the shelf. In the bar or restaurant, your beer competes for tap handle economics. The buyers want margin. The staff wants something easy to sell. The owner wants volume. It's a spreadsheet decision. But in your tap room, the customers came to you. That changes everything. They choose your building, your brand, your event. That's not a commodity. It's the source. And the beer from the source should not be priced like an apology. This does not mean you gouge people. It does not mean you raise prices randomly. It means you recognize the value of the context. The taproom pint has more value than a grocery store can. The taproom pour has more value than a wholesale ounce. The taproom flight has more value than 4 tiny beers on a wooden paddle, because it comes with an experience. and the experience is part of the product. Now, let's address the fear part. Fear is usually not based on data. It's based on a few loud customers. Every brewery has them. The person who remembers when pints were $5. The person who says the brewery down the road is cheaper. The person who thinks Mug Club status came with a lifetime seat on your board of directors. The person who says, I could get a 6-pack for that. Why, yes, you could. You could also make coffee at home. You could cook dinner at home. You could watch the movie at home. You could drink water from the sink before going to the airport. But people don't always choose the cheapest version of a product. They choose the version that fits the moment. And this is why the customer is in your tap room. They didn't come there because the beer was available. They came there because the place has meaning. This is where the owners need to separate the noise from behavior. Noise is what people say, behavior is what people do. If a customer complains about an $8 pint and still buys it, that's not a pricing failure. That's a normal Tuesday. You should listen to the customer, but you cannot let the loudest customers build your financial model. That is how you end up with a packed tap room and little cash. If you're worried, make the move clean. Don't raise every item by a random amount overnight with no thought. Look at your menu, look at your core pints, look at the flights, look at your high effort items, look at your expensive beers, look at what your wholesale accounts are charging. Then price like a business, not a nervous host asking the customer for permission. There's a difference between being fair and being underpriced. Fair pricing says, this experience has value. Underpricing says, we're afraid you'll leave. And those are two very different messages. The customer can feel that. Your cash flow can definitely feel that. The taproom has a job. Its job is not just to sell the beer. Its job is to create margin. Its job is to create cash. Its job is to protect the business from the brutal economics of distribution. Wholesale margins are thin. Distribution takes massive efforts. Kegs and cans move through a system where everyone needs to get paid. Your taproom is different. The taproom is where the brewery gets closest to the customer. That should mean better margins, better pricing power, better cash flow. But this only happens if the pricing supports the model. If your taproom is busy but cash is tight, pricing should be the first place you look, not the last. Brewery owners often want a new calendar event, a new food concept, a new loyalty program, a new sales strategy. Some of that may help, but sometimes the answer is sitting right on the menu board. Your pint is too cheap. Your flight is too cheap. The premium beer is too cheap. The taproom experience is underpriced, and the owner is absorbing the difference personally through stress, cash shortage, and late night spreadsheet therapy. Unfortunately, that is not sustainable. A brewery cannot be afraid of the one place where it actually has pricing power. That is like owning a hotel and being scared to charge more for the ocean view. The view is the point. The source of beer is the point. The experience is the point. Price it accordingly.